Give a man a fish and feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. That is what we're doing today on Flipping Genius. If you buy and sell cars for a profit, or you want to, you're in the right place. This is the Flipping Genius Podcast. I am your host, Randy Lee. I've been flipping cars most of my life, despite having almost zero mechanical skill. For the past dozen years or so, I've been a licensed used car dealer in the great state of Alabama. No matter what the topic, the number one goal of this podcast is to help our listeners make more money. Let's get to it, flippers. Every single episode of the Flipping Genius, my top goal is to help you, the listeners, the viewers, make more money, to help you achieve your goals, whatever those goals are, whether it's to make more money or to achieve more freedom or someplace in between. We want to help make you smarter and help you become more profitable. And today's episode, maybe more of that than ever before, is I'm going to talk about 10 free or mostly free tools that I use that I know can help you make those goals, help you reach those goals. And when we're all done, I'll post a link to everything I talk about on flippinggenius.com, so you can go there and link to everything and get to using them right away. So without further ado, I'm going to start with number one. And the thing about number one is it's actually 5, because it's not just one. I was thinking about one of the tools that I use all the time, and I guess you're using it too, our podcasts. And now a lot of my listeners and a lot of our viewers are watching YouTube videos, and those are great, and I watch them too. And I would love for you guys to share your favorite YouTube channels and things like that on the Flipping Forum, which, by the way, isn't even going to be, I'm not even going to mention that today. But if you'll share the information like this with each other, it just helps make us all more successful. But back to podcasts, I'm going to give you my top 5 podcasts besides Flipping Genius. I think Flipping Genius is targeted right at you, right? But here's 5 that I believe will help you make more money and help you earn freedom and help you achieve those goals. Number 1, and I bet I've mentioned his name 20 times during the podcast episodes, and I know I mention his name at least 5 times a week. And the crazy thing is I refer to this guy as my friend. A lot of times I'll say my friend Pat Flynn, because it rhymes and it's stuck in my head because he told me that one time. And Pat Flynn is one of the best podcasters and one of the best teachers that I know of. And he doesn't need my promotion to promote what he does, but I'm not trying to do him a favor, and he's never been on my podcast. He's an open invitation. I'd love to have you on, Pat, if you happen to want to come on. But he's got two podcasts that I listen to religiously, and the first one is called SPI, or Smart Passive Income. It is just brilliantly done, entertaining, and educational every time I listen. Smart Passive Income. The other podcast is called Ask Pat, and on this one, it's a coaching podcast where he'll have somebody from a variety of businesses that comes on, and I swear, I was listening to a person who came on. Her business had something to do with embroidery or knitting or something. It had nothing to do with what we do, what I do, and by the time I listened to 20 minutes of this podcast, I recognized that there were so many correlations that would help me if I just listened to Pat and this lady. And that's the way it is every single time I listen to Ask Pat or SPI. So those are my top 2, and I listen to them all the time. Now, the third one, I tried to tell you before. I'm going to tell you again, because this young lady helps me every time that she does an episode, and she's been on the Flipping Genius. So I've already talked about Rachel Eubanks and her podcast, Inspire to Engage. I just listened to it again the other day, her most recent episode, And again, I learned some stuff that's going to make me money. I know it'll help you make money too. So Rachel's podcast, Inspire to Engage, it's not a big national thing. It's just something I know Rachel personally, and she does a fantastic job with this podcast. She talks to business people every single episode. I had the honor of being on her podcast a few episodes go, episode 50 of Inspire to Engage. If you can't get enough of me, but everybody that's on there is just loaded with great information. I was truly honored to be in that mix, because it's a great show. It's usually about 30 minutes long and just packed with stuff that'll help us all achieve goals. Another guy who was on the Flipping Genius podcast, but not talking about this podcast I'm going to tell you about. His name's Jeremy Fisher. You've heard me talk about his 3-hour car flip, but he does a podcast called The Awakening. And The Awakening is all about thinking outside the box and learning ways to make money in different ways. And man, Jeremy knows how to do this, and his podcast is absolutely excellent entertainment, and usually real concise. I'd say 10 to 15 minutes per episode, I believe. And I just enjoy the hell out of listening to Jeremy teach. And I learn something every time I listen. Like I said, you have to look these up right now, because these are all going to be on the notes for this particular episode when you go to the website later. And the last one, I got to tell you, I had to think about it, because I don't know if I want to let the wolf in the door. But these guys do a good job, and they are definitely competition for Flipping Genius. It's a podcast called the Independent Dealer Podcast. It's not terribly sexy, but these guys know their stuff. They absolutely do. And they do a very serious podcast about the car business, and they go over some excellent details and have some fantastic guests. And I think we can all learn from them. So it's one that I've just started to listen to, because I just came across it. It was referred to me by somebody else, and it made my top 5 list for you guys, because I think it's very relative. So again, links to all these will be in the show notes on flippinggenius.com. That's the first one. That was just one, man. We got 9 more of these babies to go, and I'm going right to them. I'm not going to advertisement or anything like that. This next one, I haven't talked about it for a while, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you how it works right on the camera, if it's possible, because I don't know. I've got it on my phone, and I got a new phone, and I love this new phone. And I used to use this app all the time, and then all of a sudden it got screwed up. Couldn't use it, so I had to use the program on the computer, which worked, but you couldn't use it at the car dealer. Now, I know some of you guys use something more sophisticated, and hey, feel free to share it with us. Tell us why you use it and why it's worth paying for and all that kind of stuff. Again, go to Car Flipping Forum, the Flipping Genius group on Facebook, and share your ideas. I want to hear, because I'm just telling you what I know, and a lot of you guys know a hell of a lot more than me. Excuse me. To get that Kickapoo Joy Juice in. I'm just going to talk to you about the Kelly Blue Book app, and it's on my new phone. You can see there, I got a picture of my beautiful bride on there, and all you got to do is go to the KBB app, and it opens right up, and you go to used cars. Now I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did the other day, and I was so glad to have this back, because it's so responsive. So I got a phone call about a vehicle. It was a 2005, and I'm folks, if you're just listening to the podcast, you don't know what I'm talking about. We have a YouTube channel now too, so you can actually watch online. But this is not very complicated. It's a 2005 Ford Freestyle, and it is a SEL model. It is in good condition, and it has 160,000 miles on it. It's a 2-wheel drive, and I hit apply, and boom, it gives me the private party good price, which is what I think I have to sell this one for, right around that, $2,946. It's that quick. Bam, it's fast, you know. And if I want to, usually I'll price them at fair, but this was a private party that was selling it to me, and I felt real confident. But if we go to the private party, it's at $2,542. And I use this all the time. I use it. I used it today at the auction on some stuff that I hadn't already pre-analyzed because it didn't make the pre-sales sheet that they say slipped a few in on us. And I can have the prices done in less than 30 seconds on these things. I just love it. So on that particular vehicle, let's say it's going across the auction block, I put it on fair, comes up at $2,542, and I'm checking it out. I want to make $1,000 on it, right? So that means I gotta get it for less than $1,542, less fees. My fees are a couple $100. That's $1,342. I figure it's going to cost me a couple $100 to repair it, probably. Let's say $250. I'm down to wanting to buy that thing for right around $1,000. Okay, I bought it for $900, so I think I'll do okay on it. But I love the Kelley Blue Book app. And I know it's nothing special. I mean, it's not anything that other people couldn't tell you about, but I just told you about it. And if you're not using it, you owe it yourself. Load it on your phone. I didn't use it for a while because on my old phone it wasn't operating. I wrote to them and complained. Pretty sure that they didn't do anything different. I just got a better phone now. So that's number 2, Kelley Blue Book app. Just go search KBB, and if it doesn't work on your phone, I do recommend the app, the website kbb.com, or just Google it, and then you just search for the value my car, I think is the link. Now number 3, number 3 on the list is I gotta admit, I'm kind of tooting my own horn here, but I tell you, I use this thing every week at least, if not every day, and that's our resources page at flippinggenius.com. Flipping Genius with 1 G, and then just click on the resources tab, and I can't tell you how many times I use it to save money. You will save money on tires, tools, auction fees, and tons of other stuff, and give you a lot of more information. The information I've talked about before, as far as dealer licensing information for those of you who are thinking about getting licensed and you live in Wyoming, or you live in Michigan, or you live in Alabama. We have got links to the National Association that will help you figure out the legality of that. We got links to auctions so that you can save money at auctions if you're a member. It's just a ton of stuff on there. I'm not going to go into it. I've done videos on it. I've talked about it before. I don't mean to drive you crazy. I don't make money because you go to the resources page, but if you buy something there, they do give us a little bit of kickback. Some of them do, and that makes a little bit of money for the Flipping Genius. And hey, face it, the Flipping Genius doesn't make a little bit of money, you're not going to see my pretty face anymore, right? Or hear my lovely voice if you're listening. So the Flipping Genius resources page is number 3, and I think it should be 3 with a bullet. And speaking of that, when you go to the resources page, one of the things you're going to see on there is a thing that I use today on that specific vehicle we were just talking about. And it's car-part.com. So car with a little line across. I never know what that's called, part.com. You don't have to look it up. You just go to the resources page, go down to parts. You'll see it on there. They don't pay me a nickel, by the way. I tried to get them to pay me some nickels, but they don't do that. And you click on that, and it takes all the junkyards all across the United States, I think in Canada too, and it combines all of them in one spot. So, for instance, on this little Ford Freestyle that I bought, it needs a wheel because the guy hit a pothole, busted the wheel, blew the tire. And it needs a tail light lens on the left side because, well, the 80-year-old cat that was driving it got back-ended because he was driving too slow. So it needs a new, no real damage to the body, just the tail light. And those two things, I could probably find them at a local junkyard, and I may still go there. Just for instance, so I checked out the wheel. I found the wheel. They do have it at a parts store about 15 miles from me. Now these guys have been notorious for telling me they got it and I get there and they don't have it. So I don't really like rolling over there for no reason. So sometimes I will buy something from somebody in Illinois or Pennsylvania and have them ship it to me, especially if the price is the same or less with shipping. So these guys have the wheel, or at least they say they do, for 75 bucks. I checked. I haven't checked a lot, but I checked a junkyard up in or whatever, they salvage yard. They like to call themselves something better than that. Up in Wisconsin, from carpart.com, they had the same wheel for 30 bucks. They're going to charge me 55 bucks for shipping. Now, they didn't have the taillight. If they had it, I probably would have said, send it to me, because that thing will be here in 3 days, and the vehicle's still at the mechanics getting some other stuff serviced. It'll be here and ready, and I don't have to drive across town and find out that they didn't have it. Now, it's $55 to ship, so that's the deterrence there. Every now and then I'll buy something on there, and the shipping's only 10, 15 bucks. It makes not that big of a difference, and a lot of times the parts are a lot cheaper in other places, and these guys are very professional the way they handle their business. And in fact, today I was on the phone and I was actually texting with the folks in Wisconsin, finding out that they did not have the taillight lens. That's why I didn't buy that. But car-part.com is worth the cost of attendance, which is free. But you can access it from our resources page. I cannot tell you all the stuff that I bought on there and all the probably thousands of dollars that I've saved over the years by using carpart.com. Again, they are not an affiliate of mine, but I do recommend them because it is worth it. Okay, now we're whittling down these things. That was number 4. I'm coming to number 5, and this one is another one of those things that I bet you're not doing this. I bet you aren't. And now it's not because I haven't told you about it. Because I know if you've listened to the podcast and you've been listening religiously, you've heard me talk about this, because anybody who knows me has heard me talk about this. And that is barter. I've got friends in the barter business who have helped me make a lot of money, and helped me save a lot of money, and they continue to do that. And I belong to 3 different barter organizations, full disclosure, and they're all advertised on the resources page because all of them help me. The biggest is ITEX, ITEX. ITEX. It's a international corporation that's traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Been a member of ITEX for over a decade, and they do a fantastic job at what they do. The other 2 that I belong to are Trade Bank, which is a very strong here in my local market. Lovely, lovely person who owns a local franchise. Her name is Lisa Smith. You can hear her, I think, on episode 15 of Flipping Genius. I believe she was my very first guest on Flipping Genius. And she does a fantastic job here locally. They're primarily a southeastern based company, but they do have some offices in, I think, Colorado, possibly Kansas. Now I know they're in Kansas, and they do a great job for me. I really enjoy them. And the other one is IMS, International Monetary Systems. These are the 3 that I belong to. They help me a lot with travel, and I probably speak about them the least, but they do an excellent job too. Now you're saying, you probably think, well, tell us what you're talking about, Randy. Well, I owned another business besides the Flipping Genius and Middleman Enterprises, which is the car business. Our operations involve some other products, and typically my markup on those products is about 4 to 5 to 1. So I buy it for $1, I sell it for 4. I buy it for $1, I sell it for 5, and so that markup is tremendous. So if you can pay for advertising for your business, if you can pay for services, say like detailing a vehicle or repairing a transmission on a vehicle, if you can pay these things with that markup in exchange, and the business comes to you automatically, it changes the equation on what you do. Now, this is complex, and I've talked about barter before, and you're welcome to ask me questions on the Flippers forum. I don't want to go into great detail here. All I'm saying is this may be the best tip that I'm telling you about, and I encourage you not to ignore it because I know it's easy to do. A very small percentage of businesses in America participate in this completely legal. The IRS knows exactly what I'm doing, so don't think I'm doing anything like that. This is a great way to increase your bottom line. In fact, with iTex, for instance, they help me with marketing. If I advertise on a billboard, if I advertise in a magazine, if I advertise on the internet, if I am on a radio station, as long as I mention that I'm a member of iTex or allocate a very small percentage of the print ad to the fact that I belong to the iTex barter organization, they will actually reimburse 50% of what I spend on that advertising. Have you ever heard of that? That's amazing. And there's a cap on it, but it's pretty healthy. Other services, like I mentioned, car detailing, auto body, transmissions, advertising, like I said, and believe it or not, I've bought vehicles directly using no cash, only barter money. And remember how I get my money: 4-to-1, 5-to-1. If you can buy a vehicle with 20% dollars, you can buy a dollar with 20 cents, for instance. It's a pretty good deal, and it's a good place to start. And when it's all said and done, if I want to sell a vehicle to replenish the money that I've spent, they will actually sell it for me without any fees. And anyway, it's fantastic. If you want more information, contact me. I do want to talk a little bit more about our friends from iTex, and I want to welcome them back. I talked about it last week. My good friend Gene Townley has retired, and he sold off his franchise, which encompassed most of the southeastern and some of the Midwest United States. What a great businessman Gene is, and a great friend. And he's encouraged iTex to continue to advertise with us, and we're so thankful to have them back on board. And I want to tell you specifically about just a few things that iTex helped me with in the past 12 months. Really shorter period than that. Each year, my family and I enjoy a time together to celebrate my mother's birthday. My mother passed several years ago. And we meet at a place together and just share a week together. It's such a fantastic time. We try to meet someplace in between where we all live. And we like to have a place that's nice and has a lake or a river or someplace where we can do some fun stuff on the water. Last year, I contacted the folks at iTex, and I asked them to find me a place. Told them, it's got to be something nice. And I it's not that we're so fancy, but I look forward to helping, to being able to supply this to my family. I'm so proud of my brothers and sisters and their family, and I just want to do this one special thing. Last year, they came up with a place north of Minneapolis. It was a brand new home. It had just been built. We were literally, I think, the second people to ever stay in this house. It was a $1 million house. I think it had 6 bedrooms. It was directly on this beautiful lake in the middle of a golf community with 3 beautiful golf courses, including one that's, I think, in the top 100 golf courses in America. Just a fantastic it's an Arnold Palmer course, I believe. I like to play golf, any golf course is pretty to me, but these 3 were just beautiful places. The lake was gorgeous. We were right on it. I could walk out on my dock, our dock for the week, and get in the kayak and take off around the lake, and it was absolutely stunning. All of that. I think my total cash out of pocket was $100. I think I paid $100 to the cleaning folks or something like that, Everything was done at that 5-to-1 money that we were talking about earlier. Everything was done on barter. Everything through iTex. They did a fantastic job. We loved the place, and it is just one of my favorite places we've ever been. We go to a great place every year, and typically iTex are the ones who line it up. Um, just and on the way home, I just remembered we stayed at a great little motel in Missouri, a little hotel. It's a hotel, I'm sorry, in Missouri. It was a very unique little place. It's in La Plata, Missouri, and it's a little town. And this place is dedicated to the railroad industry. It's very unique. I'm not a big railroad fan, but after staying there, it was fantastic. And what a cool place. And once again, all on barter. Uh, no cash out of pocket. And the gentleman that owned the place even he bottles his own wine there, and he actually gave us a couple bottles of wine. They were fantastic. And sometimes when I'm not paying cash, people treat me better than when I pay cash. And iTex opens these doors. And the last thing I thought of when I was trying to think, I wanted to think of 3 things I could tell you about that iTex has helped me. And I could probably sit here and talk all day long, but these are just 3 little ones. And this last one is a fun one because I don't know, I'm getting old, I guess, and I love it when I go to these little restaurants, especially these days where restaurants have so much trouble getting good employees to work for them. Sometimes you go to these places and you feel like you've gone back in time because the kids that work at these places work hard and they're just great kids. And there's a place in North Alabama, and doggone it, I'm not gonna be able to think of the town. Uh, doggone it, it's a place called the Lion's Den, and it is it's in a little town. Sorry about that. I'll put a link to it on the page so you can find them because I want them to get credit. This place is just wonderful. It's a simple little restaurant, and it's near the lake house where we go to here in North Alabama, and they have steak and they have fried green tomatoes when they're in season. Man, they're great, and they have the best everything. But the thing they have the best of, I think, are these kids that work there and wait on you. I just love going to this place. And once again, all on barter. You leave them a nice tip in cash because you're thankful to have the service and you're glad that they're doing their job. And it is a wonderful thing to be able to do these things, not only for your business, but also for yourself, and do them at the cost of your doing business with people who also want to do business with you, because that's when you'll find out when you start doing business in a barter system like iTex, the other iTex folks want to do business with you. So I can't say enough about iTex. I'm so glad to welcome them back as a sponsor of the Flipping Genius, and I want to invite you to check them out. I'm going to put links. There are links. There always has been links to iTex at the top of their section, on the business section, at the Flipping Genius resources page. Click on there. You can learn more about it. And if you have questions about it, you want to learn more from me, feel free to reach out to me, flippingquestions@gmail.com, or just ask me on the forum. I'm happy to talk about barter. It has changed my life, and I think it can change yours too. So those are the first 5 things. We got 5 more coming after this little break, so I can get some more Kickapoo Joy Juice. Be right back. Hey, when we started the Flipping Genius podcast, one of the things I thought that we could do to create revenue is create a digital training course about car flipping. And then I discovered Jeremy Fisher had already created the 3-hour car flip and the 3-hour car flip academy. He did such a fantastic job. I didn't see any way that I could duplicate that effort anywhere near the price that he was willing to charge. And then I invited Jeremy to come share the microphone with us in episode 42 of Flipping Genius. He did, which is exciting to me. And then he said we could sell his product on our website for less than $50, and he'd even give us a small commission every time we sold one. It's a great deal, and it's a great course. It'll help you make some money no matter where you're at in the flipping game. I encourage you to go to flippinggenius.com, click on resources, click on more great stuff, and buy Jeremy's course. It's less than $50. I'm confident that you will make probably 10 times that much on your very first flip. It's very well worth it. 3-hour car flip. All right, welcome back. Before we get to the next 5, I want to remind you about the YouTube video that we've got. It's a 4-part series called My Real Life 3-Hour Car Flip. Check that out. You'll see everything that Jeremy talks about. It's all doable, and it was kind of fun doing it. But let's get number 6. Number 6 is something you've probably heard of before. I don't know if I've talked about it before here. It's called Square. You may already use it. If you don't, check it out. There'll be a link to it, of course, on the page. There always has been, because I used it. I've been using it for a long time. So you're making a deal on a vehicle, and the buyer doesn't have the cash on hand, but they have a credit card. Square allows you to process a credit card. There is a fee, and if you got questions about that, feel free to reach out to me either by email or at the Flipper forum. But you put this little toggle in your phone, you plug it right in there, and you just slide it, and you automatically can make that transaction happen for thousands of dollars, and it's instantly in your account like that. And it can make a deal where a deal is not going to happen any other way. There is a fee. You have to factor all that in, but we can talk about that. You can talk about it with them, obviously. I don't represent Square, but I find it's very useful. Recommend that you check that out. Number 7. Okay, I'm going to throw some initials out to you. I got to grab some more Kickapoo Joy Juice first. Number 7, two sets of initials. NICB and NHTSA. I'm not going to even tell you what they are, because I can't remember what they are right now. But there's links to both of these, of course, at our website. And what these things do is they're going to give you a free vehicle history report on your car to tell you if it's ever been stolen, and also a free report on any open recalls that you currently have on that vehicle. You heard me right. Free. Now, you may want more detailed reports, more detailed history, and for that, what I don't use the big national firm, because I'm too cheap to giving them all that money, you know that. I use a site, and this one's not free, but it only costs me $3 per report, and it's called checkthatvin.com. Just like you'd think it's spelled, checkthatvin.com. And I think it cost me $3 per report, and it gives me pretty much, anytime I've run one for somebody, it gave them the answers to all the questions that they wanted from a vehicle report, and it's only $3. So that's not a free one. NICB, NHTSA, those are free, and you can find them at our website on the resources page, and that gives you some answers for situations. And by the way, one of the things I talked about was open recalls. And I don't know what it's like in every state, but I know in the state of Alabama, we now have some rules where, as a licensed dealer, you've got to disclose any open recalls to your buyer. And this is how I find out if there's open recalls. I'll give them a report that shows when there's not an open recall, and I have to get paperwork signed to that effect. I know these things because I'm a member of the National Independent Auto Dealers Association, the Alabama Independent Auto Dealers Association. And I know you probably heard me talk about it and think Randy must get a cut from this. I do not. I just think these guys are very helpful. So number 8 is the NIADA, the National Independent Auto Dealers Association. Their website is linked to our website. It always has been. It always will be. It gives you access to all the auctions, well, a lot of auctions. It's not every auction, but hundreds of auctions across the country. It tells you about laws that you may not know about. It helps you with licensing, whether you're in Wyoming or Wichita, Kansas, or Wisconsin, and any other W places that you can think of. It has, I think every state in the union is linked to the association, and you can find out what your licensing rules are there. You can also get free training. There's probably some paid training too, but they offer free training. I know Randy Jones, who's our association president, they offer all kind of free stuff to people who just want to be dealers, and not to mention to the dealers, and not just if you're a member of the association. So definitely take advantage of that. And there's publications that they put out that give you tons of information. Kathy Cruz was a guest of ours back in episode 55, I think. What a brilliant car person she was. And I found her through one of the national publications, I think Used Car magazine. Kathy writes for that magazine each month and always has tons of great information. You'll see some links to her publications, her articles at the Car Flipping Forum, because it's just stuff that will help all of us. And all this stuff is free. There's a lot of free stuff here. So definitely check them out. Go to the Flipping Genius podcast page and look for that. And like I said, all of these, there'll be links to everything on here when we're done. And the reason that there will be links to all these things, the reason that I'm able to disseminate all this information, the reason that all 70 episodes of Flipping Genius are at one place and you can just click and listen for free, videos, all this cool stuff, is because I host my website at a place called Wix. Now, full disclosure, I decided to start paying Wix a little bit of money because I wanted to step up our website, because I needed, we're growing, I need to get a little bit better. But for the longest time, I didn't give them a nickel. It was just free. And I still have some websites on Wix that are still free that I do not pay them any money, and I think they do a great job, so I just keep them that way. I'm not going to give anybody money until I have to, you know that. I've been designing websites since back in the 90s, back in the stone age of the internet, I think. I learned how to write HTML language. I was very proud of myself for being able to create a website, and man, it was painful. Back then, I had a real estate publication, and I would stay up for what seemed like 48 hours in a row just designing this website. And you had to work and work and work, and you would miss one little digit, one little symbol, and you'd have to go back and recreate or find that problem. Wix makes it so easy. They just make it so easy. I know there's other websites out there that do free hosting, and I've heard good things about them. Wix, W-I-X, is the one I use. It is free. They do not pay me. They are not an affiliate. I asked them. They said, "You're not big enough, Randy." I hear that a lot. But I recommend, they're number 9 on our list today. And I definitely, if you don't have a website right now, Wix is a great place to build one. If you have a website and you're spending money on it, consider not doing that and check Wix out. Because I've seen a lot of websites where people are spending money. They don't have control of the site. Maybe they're paying somebody else to do it. I don't mean to hurt any other businesses, but I'm just saying Wix has worked really well for me, so I recommend them very highly. And man, that went by fast. We're on number 10. And number 10 is one that's going to help you make money. I know it will. And maybe you've heard of these things. Maybe you use these things. Maybe you don't. I say these things because number 10, again, I'm giving you the bonus. There's going to be 3 things on one place. Number 10's got 3 ad sources that are just my favorite places to advertise, to buy cars, to sell cars, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. In fact, just recently, that little Ford Freestyle that we talked about, that one came from one of these sources, and it definitely pays off. The first source is simply Facebook Marketplace, and I know probably 99% of you already use or know about Facebook Marketplace, but maybe it's not that high. If you're not using Facebook Marketplace, you're missing the boat. Now, back when I started, Craigslist was the place to advertise. It's just not anymore. I rarely even look at Craigslist. It's not really a place I go. And it could be different in your locale, but for us, that's just the case. Facebook Marketplace is a tremendous tool at this point. Now, this is a ever-changing. I want to point out, I'm recording this episode on, is the 18th of May, 2021. And I want to point that out because in the 18th of May, 2022, everything could be different because things change that fast. But right now, Facebook Marketplace is a great place to put your vehicles. You can put a lot of vehicles on there. You put a lot of photos of it, and they don't charge you if you're a dealer, or if you're not a dealer. I don't pay anything. And they even stay on top of me and say, "Do you want to renew this?" And I can pay them some money every now and then. I do throw them a little money to publicize it more, but it's a great free place. Now, along with Marketplace, when I post a vehicle, when I post an ad, often I'm placing it other places too, because I'm a member of a lot of Facebook groups. I don't know the number, but there's a lot of them. And I will typically list a vehicle in probably about 10 different groups in my local area because I sell vehicles locally. Now, if you are selling specialized vehicles, you may expand that marketing to a wider range, and you can do that all for free on Facebook groups. Now, the thing I love about Facebook is it really gives people a chance to know who they're dealing with. They can look at your profile and see who you are, and vice versa. I'm not going to go into great detail on that. You get the point. It's a valuable tool to know who you're talking to, and it makes you also probably a little bit more confident that that you're safe meeting people, because that's something you got to consider. Now, the third one of these three, maybe one that you're not familiar with. I don't know if this is in every neck of the woods yet. It's called Nextdoor. Nextdoor. Remember, there will be links to all these from our page. Nextdoor is something that I use, and I should use it more, but sometimes I forget. Because it always pays off. I talked about that intimacy of Facebook, where people know who you are. Nextdoor is even more like that. So I got contacted by actually no, I found the lead the other day. About someone selling that vehicle, and I reached out to them and contacted them about that. I just remembered I contacted them about that Ford Freestyle because I saw it on Nextdoor. But I post ads on there that I buy vehicles and frequently get calls from those, and people feel comfortable with me because they feel like I'm one of their neighbors, which I technically am, except for I do advertise my advertising in a broader base. And you can spend money as a business on there, and I don't discourage you to do that because I think it's money well spent, but you can do all of this for free too. And as you know, free is my favorite F word, folks, and I use it a lot, the free stuff. Hey, I hope these help you. I want you to take advantage of the car flipping forum on Facebook. Just search Flipping Genius on Facebook groups, and you're going to find our car flipping forum. And please share any other ideas you have with each other, and any questions you have about any of the things we've talked about today. Just reach out to me there. Ask me questions there. Feel free to send questions to me at flippingquestions@gmail.com too. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I love the forum because it gives me a chance to reach out to everybody at one time. And I want to ask you also to please consider becoming a Flipping Genius team member or a Flipping Genius partner. And if you want more information about that, just go to flippinggenius.com and click on the box, become a team member, and you don't automatically become one. Just check it out and see if it's something you'd want to do. We're growing that section of Flipping Genius, and it's going to help put us together with individuals and help you build your businesses one-on-one. It's an exciting thing that we're doing, and we're just getting that off the ground. If you have questions about that after you look at it, please reach out to me at flippingquestions@gmail.com. I will answer you personally, and I'd love to talk to you more about it. Hey, save us on your favorites and share us with your friends. If there's somebody you think Flipping Genius can help, please tell them about us. Tell everybody about it on social networking. Share us everywhere you can possibly think, and subscribe to us so you never miss an episode. And remember, we're on YouTube now too, so subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can watch our videos. We're doing some short videos, and we're also teaming up, as I said last week, with a new radio station called DAA Radio, so you'll be able to hear our quick flips, I think, is what we're calling those. And I think a couple folks who sent in suggestions, and I think we're going to land on that one. I'll announce next week for sure who it was, because you're going to get a prize. And if you got a suggestion for what our quick flips will be, or whatever we're going to call those, send it to me at flippingquestions@gmail.com, and I'll take that in consideration. You come in with a great one. I got one prize to give, and we're going to give it out to the winner on that. Also, if you get a chance to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, that's a big help to us. The bigger, the more of those we get, and the more viewers we get, the more listeners we get, the bigger our audience grows, the more the audience grows. It's just how that works. And the more the audience grows, the more impressions we can make on people to try to get additional advertisers and additional discounts on our resources page. So also, if there's somebody that you'd like us to add to the resources page, or somebody you think can help other listeners, let me know, and we will do what we can to get them on there. Hey, let's work together. Let's make some money. Let's all become flipping geniuses. Flipping geniuses. See you next time.